Happy Sabbath! Today is the Sabbath. It is October 27th, 2017, and a year ago today I had an opportunity to finally pay it forward. So I just want to share that story with you. A friend of mine dropped me off at the airport, and since I was quite a bit early, I just sat down on a bench to eat my lunch before I went through security. So as I was sitting down eating my lunch, there was a lady next to me, and she was clearly distraught. She was talking on the phone, and she was really frustrated, and you could tell she was desperately trying to get some help. Immediately when I was hearing the frustration in her voice, it reminded me of my own situation a few weeks earlier when I had missed my flight. Again, I won't go into details about that because I actually have a video about it called Never Give Up. And so anyways, I was just thinking about that experience, and her call suddenly ended. And she looked over to me and she bursts into tears and she says, "I'm so sorry, it's just that today is my daughter's birthday and I was in a rush leaving home and I forgot my credit card at home, and so the lady at the counter won't accept the fact that I have it memorized, and they also don't take cash. They need a physical copy of my credit card, and now I'm going to miss that flight." And so what she was doing was she was trying to go online to book the ticket using she had her credit card memorized using the numbers, but because it was so close to the time the flight was leaving, they wouldn't accept it. So she was trying to talk to someone over the phone to get it, to give her credit card, and they wouldn't do it. So in that split moment, I had a decision to make, and there were many thoughts that rushed through my mind. The first one that I already mentioned was that I experienced missing a flight, and I could totally sympathize with this lady. The second thought that came to my mind was a quote that I remember, and it says, "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can." And so I started to get into the mindset where I should never miss an opportunity to do good to someone, for I know that that opportunity will never present itself again. And if I let that moment pass, it is lost forever. But if I do good, it will last not only in this lifetime, but for all eternity. Another thing that came to my mind was paying it forward. You might have watched the video I did on this story, but to summarize it, a year earlier I was on a road trip also heading home for Christmas. My car broke down, and this wonderful young man took hours out of his evening to help me and ended up replacing my brakes. It was thanks to his kindness that I was able to make it to my family reunion on time, and I felt so indebted to him that even money couldn't repay him for his generosity, because I was with my family and it was Christmas, and you can't, I needed that time, and that time could never just be given with money, right? And so he wouldn't accept any money though, even though I had offered, and all he said was pay it forward. So finally, here was my chance. I looked at this lady, and in that split second I said, "I have a credit card that you can use." And her face lighted up. She looked at me and asked, "Really? Are you sure?" I said yes. And I'll never forget her response. She wiped her tears away and she was like, "This can work, this can work, this can work." And she actually, hope came back into her heart, and you could just see that she was, reassuring herself that this can work. And so she went back up to the ticket counter to talk to the the agent over there, and finally she waved me up to the counter, and I came up, and it all worked out. They were able to accept my card, and she just kept thanking me over and over again, and she asked for my contact information, and so she wrote down on a pad of paper Sacramento Angel, and then she wrote the rest of my contact information. But you know, the whole time that I was away from home, like I had flown out and my friend and I had done a road trip, I only had one copy of my favorite book, Steps to Christ. And the whole 3 weeks, you know, I'm always like looking for opportunities and wondering who I could give this book to, and no opportunity came. And I even started questioning like whether or not I should have gone on that trip, whether or not, you know, I was where I was supposed to be. And then there was my opportunity. She asked me for my contact information, and I offered her one of my favorite books. I asked her if she liked to read, and then I was able to give her my favorite book. And I know that that was a divine appointment. And friends, I just want to encourage you that if you ever doubt that God has a plan for your life, just read His promises and be encouraged. And remember that also there is nothing good in humanity. But when humanity is combined with divinity, then we can make a huge impact. She was right. There was an angel in Sacramento that day. But that angel was not me. It was my guardian angel that truly helped this lady. Every day we have two paths to choose from, and although I did make the right decision that day, don't think it came without a struggle. As I said before, when the moment happened, there are plenty of thoughts going through my mind, and you only have a split second to make a decision. The other thoughts that were coming to my mind that were trying to hinder me from doing good was my current financial situation. I was in the worst financial situation I had ever been in my whole life. I wasn't getting called to work. I'm thankful that God used me that day, and that I allowed Him to use me that day. And I pray that I will continue to make the right choices in the future. And finally I was able to pay it forward, and I don't want that to be the first or the last time. My prayer now and always is to continue to walk in the selfless path that my Savior lived, and I want to live His life. That I would always remember the verse that says, "Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you." I know that if I was in her situation, I would want someone to do that very same thing. And so I encourage you that if you find yourself in situations where you see someone, think about them, and then think about, what if you were in their shoes? What would you want to be done? And whatever that is, do it. And just surrender to God, because at the end of the day, that's what we need to do. We need to surrender our hearts so that He can live in us. And I just want to encourage you, this video is not about, you know, go out and do good in your own power. It's about realizing that God can use us if we're willing, if we surrender and we trust Him. And so I pray that this video is encouragement to you, and that it will motivate you to do what's right, and that God would transform the world through us, the way the world was transformed when He lived and walked on this earth. I pray that this story was a blessing to you, and yeah, go and transform the world.